In this video, I'll show the removal of an upper ball joint on a mid-70s GM car. This is a mid-70s Pontiac Grand Prix, but the front ends on these GM cars were the same for a long time, and trucks too. So what I'm going to show you here is applicable to all sorts of different, mostly older GM vehicles, but also Ford and Chrysler, and even some imports. Ball joints that have a tapered kind of a press-in fit are pretty common on most vehicles over a wide number of years. So this will be something that is applicable to lots of vehicles, but this is a mid-70s GM car. I'm using this cheap Amazon $50 puller kit. Got off Amazon. It has a variety of different sizes of pullers for tie rod ends, pitman arms, ball joints, all the steering components basically you can get off on with this set. Okay. So with this car, I'm replacing everything in here. All the tie rod ends, all the bushings, brakes. There's a new brake rotor there. New rotors. Idler arm, drag link, everything. Everything's being replaced. It's going to be all brand new. I'm scraping everything out in here. I'm going to repaint all in here. This is going to be a driver. It's not a show car by any means, but I want to make it into a safe, reliable driver. So I want all new parts on it. Every brake piece, every suspension, steering piece, shock springs, everything's brand new. So you can see I've already disassembled a lot of this. I know this isn't the right way to replace a ball joint, but I'm taking all this out of here. So I'm going to do new bushings here, upper control arm bushings, upper and lower ball joints, rotors, everything's coming out. So this is pretty much the last step here. This is the upper ball joint. We're going to use our new Amazon tool on it, and I'm going to take this whole steering knuckle and everything off and clean it up and replace everything on the bench, and then do the same thing on the other side. So this is also better actually to illustrate how this works, because you can kind of see a little bit better on the camera, I think, with it opened up and turned funny to the side like this. And then we'll do the lower ball joint as well. I'll pop the lower ball joint on the bench, I think. But just to illustrate how the top works, as I understand it, again, first time I've ever done this, admittedly. Here's our tool, right? There's actually two settings on it. The top, if you pull this pin out, you can put it in the top, and it makes it smaller, maybe for an import car or something. But this car needs the wider jaw, so this, we'll tighten it till there's some tension. Just like that. Wear safety glasses. You can see that was pretty violent, and that's why we wanted the nut still on there, right? Because if the nut wasn't on there, this thing would have went flying down. Always keep your hands and everything free of all that weight, just in case it does pop. But there we go. It's popped. We can pull that nut off now. Maybe support this with a jack and pull the nut off, and then lower it down. Thanks for watching. All right, to remove that upper ball joint from the control arm on the car, there's the ball joint. And this really varies from car to car. On these cars, you've got these rivets. There's 4 rivets. They're more like studs that have, they're rivets from the factory. If it's an aftermarket ball joint, it'll have bolts in there that can be taken out. But these riveted ones have to be chiseled out. So that's what we're going to do now to get the ball joint out of the control arm. Set up. So you can use a chisel, like a hand chisel, or this is an air chisel. And I did this one already just for practice. But basically, you need to get in there with the air chisel and just knock the head off of that rivet. Do this one first. Okay, then now that the rivets are out, we can bang on this. Control arm's moving all over the place. What the hell, let's try this. Might have to punch them out and clean up those holes.